All right, we're live.
Hello and welcome back to the Bennetts Life Podcast.
Ding, ding, ding.
I'll get that thing.
Episode 6.
Episode 6, yeah.
Today, we're going to be talking about immigration and getting a green card.
Which we have
A wealth of
lot
knowledge.
of experience about. Not really a lot.
We have personal experience right here
Yeah.
of getting one, and we have personal experience right here of Casey having to deal with someone getting one. And
Yeah, it's more about the kind of marrying a foreigner and living in another country, that sort of stuff. So,
and the process of what I had to do. I don't know the farm names and stuff, but I'm going to tell you what it looks like from point A to point B to be able to permanently stay in America.
yeah, so how about we get into the how it went down? So, Chris came over on a 90-day tourist visa, which
called
did you
the-
have to apply for?
Yes, it's called a ESTA visa. If you're a UK citizen, you can apply for this. It's your tourist visa. Gives you 90 days to be in the country at a time. You can't work. You can't stay over the 90 days. And once you leave, I believe you have to spend at least 90 days outside of the country before you can come back. So 3 months in,
That's like
3
what's
months out.
recommended.
Yeah, I think you can get away with a little bit less. But 90 days in, that's the maximum you can have. And that
Yeah.
was what the plan was, right?
Yes. So that's what we planned on, and then we were kind of like, okay, we're gonna get married or something.
Because I never caught my flight home.
Yes. So we're planning on that. The
was trying-
plan was to get married in December. So he was gonna come over, ask my family, like meet my family.
We
hang
came over.
out.
We came over in April.
Yes. And then he was going to go home, work, and then come back in December-ish is when we were going to get married.
With my family.
Yes. So then we started looking up, all right, how does this work? Like somebody coming
did you
to
say I was
live in
gonna ask you that,
another
Maria?
country. Yeah.
That was the whole sole aim of this, to come over and ask her dad if I could marry her.
Yeah.
Proper.
Well, and so that you could like meet my family without the like preconceived like she's gonna marry this guy. Let's see how it goes, you know, like so they
Yeah.
can get to know you before we told them that we're gonna get married. So, anyways, then as we were here, we're like, okay, we're actually gonna get married. Like we will be getting married in December. Like let's look into like how we go about getting him papers to live here. Which brings us to the next thing. So we started just like Googling, doing research ourselves, and it was like.
Don't do it.
It was like fiance visa was like the main thing that we found. So if you're going to get married, your fiance can come over on a fiance visa, and you have to get married within 90 days. Once you get married in that 90 days, I can't even remember the full thing of the...
No, the fiance visa wasn't
You
the
still had 90 days to get married.
once you received it.
Yeah,
But you have to leave. You have to be in your home country to apply for a
so you
fiance
had to
visa.
right. So you had to apply for the fiance visa.
In
And then
England.
in order to get the actual fiance visa where you could come over, and when you came over with your fiance visa, you had 90 days to get married. That process, they said, could take anywhere from like 9 months to 2 years, basically. And we
So-
were like,
So I would have had to fly home, apply for it. The application process can take up to 9 months before you ever get anything. So
Right.
up to 9 months, I could keep going backwards and forwards as a tourist, but I haven't actually started my visa process. So I apply for it. Okay, say 6 months later, 9 months later, I get approved. Now I potentially have to wait up to 2 years before I can live in the same country as my wife. Because
no, not even wife yet. That
Yeah.
would have just been...
no, but yeah. So up to 2 years to wait to go over to permanently live there, so we can get married, so I can stay. All right.
Right.
Now, then I would have to work. I would have had to go backwards and forwards, or we would have taken turns going backwards and forwards on tourist visas.
For
Now-
up to 2 years,
Up to
they
2
said.
years.
Like that's what we were like looking at people who had done it, people like who were like telling their experience on like blogs and stuff, and people were saying like, oh yeah, we waited for this long, for this long. It was ages. It wasn't
Yeah.
just like a couple months. So then we were like, okay, maybe we need help. Maybe we need to talk to somebody who.
But there's a side of that as well, that you can't hold a job down if every 3 months you go into a different country, and if you can't work in that other country.
Yeah,
Like how
yeah.
can you
Where are you
afford to
getting all this
even
money from?
unless you're independently wealthy, which we spoke about beforehand. One day we will be. But yeah, that was like, that's insane. That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And I'd imagine, not to say we would have broke up or anything, but that would have been a real big stress on
Right,
us
right.
making it work, you know?
Yeah, yes. We weren't like the most steady couple when we got married, and like, I mean, like and we were together every day. So like I think being apart would have only added to our instability. Agree or don't agree?
It was no Romeo and Juliet to begin with. We loved each other. That was undeniable. But we were from two different worlds, and I think a lot of it was just understanding each other. You know,
Yeah.
like I didn't get her,
It was
not
crazy.
understand her. Like look at her, she looks like look at her right there, little Victoria's Secrets model face right there. Needs to whiten her teeth, but but yes. It's just a different mindset. She came from a different upbringing, different world. I came from a different upbringing, different world. And we butt heads. I guess if she was with someone from Tucson or America, she wouldn't be doing these things, and vice versa. Same for me. Like, it took a little while for us to, like any relationship. I don't think it's any different from any relationship. But we had the idea.
It wasn't like we were like in the honeymoon stage ever, basically. So like when we met and we were dating, like we were, I don't know how to explain it. Anyways, we weren't like super stable, and that like we thought that like getting out of the town that we were living in, Durham, was going to help our relationship, kind of. Like that was the whole reason why we wanted to move to America, because it just would have taken a lot of like external problems that we were like trying to, I don't even know if this is making any sense.
Yeah,
but
let's. Anyway, we're together. We've been married nearly 5 years.
so
Everything's
anyways,
good.
in the process, now we're both here in America, and we're looking into things like, what should we do? How are we going to live together in the same country? And we're like, okay, maybe we need help. So my mom works with lawyers. She was like, go see this immigration guy. He can give you guys some advice. Okay. So you go to the immigration guy. He was like, you guys want to be together? We're like, duh. Yes.
We're not
That's
here
the
for no
whole
reason.
point. And he was like, okay, well, what I suggest is if you're going to get married anyway.
We need to go, like, the instability part, so people don't think we were crazy. All right, we were going to get married. It's not like we hated each other or we just fought a lot. That's all. We were always going to get married. There was never an undenying
fact.
fact.
To be married.
Yeah.
But I'm saying like we were fighting. Like that was our
about stupid shit.
Yeah,
like,
it was just getting to know. Like so, we met in September. We were kind of friends, and then in December we kind of like got together, and then in April we moved to America together. So within a 6 to 4 month span of time, we decided we met each other, we like each other, we're dating each other, let's get married.
Whoop whoop.
4 to 6 months, all that happened. So it was a lot and we're like when we're still getting to know each other, basically.
And we were a lot younger as well.
Yeah, and we were young. Chris was super young. I was
17.
Slightly younger.
35.
I was young and Chris was slightly younger. That's what I mean.
I was 17 when we met, in case he was 25.
Anyways, the point is, we go to see the lawyer. He's like, so you guys are wanting to be married, right? You're going to be married. And we're like, yes. So he's like, what I would suggest is if you're going to get married anyways, just get married right now on your tourist visa, so you guys are husband and wife, and then just apply for a thing that basically
a heartbreak clause.
Is that what it's called?
But that's how he described it. Like, if I leave, it's gonna break my heart. And I mean, leaving would have sucked. Would I have died? Probably not. But then this clause is like, we had to get married. There's no way I was going back to another country.
So he was like, just get married. They'll know that you guys are serious. They know you guys are married, and then apply for like a permanent resident card saying that your spouse lives here in America and you need to live here as well.
P.S. I'm pretty sure he wasn't meant to tell us that, you know. He went through the full official meeting, and it was like literally the last 5 minutes as we were about to leave. He's like, are you guys really serious about getting married? And we're like, yeah. He's like, then just get married now, and this is how you do it. Like,
yeah.
But prior, like the whole hour beforehand, he'd been discussing only the legitimate way to do it. Like, this is kind of like the loop.
I don't remember that.
No,
really.
we had to sit down in a real meeting. Then as we were leaving, he told us like kind of a shortcut or a loophole or a cheat code, if you would, like a life hack. I don't think this is common knowledge, but I was here on a tourist visa and I got married on a tourist visa and I never left. So we're like, okay, let's go get married. That's what we did. We got married on a mountain in shorts and a t-shirt in case you wore a dress and flip-flops. It was pretty awesome. If I could have imagined a wedding any other way, it probably would have been an ocean in the backdrop, but that was kind of perfect for me. I know Casey still wants to get a wedding. We will one day.
So basically, he told us to do this, and then we're like, all right. So then we like had a little conversation in the car. Are we sure about this? We're going to do this? We're like, yes, we're going to do it. So we had to break the news to his family, which I don't even remember that conversation. But
we said, we're getting married. I'm not coming home.
But they were pretty. I think they were pretty upset because like they wanted to be a part of the wedding. Like your kid's getting married. You want to be there, and they couldn't be there because it was such short notice. We basically picked a date that was before he was scheduled to leave by only a couple weeks, I think. Picked a date that we were like, okay, we're going to get married on this day. I had a family friend marry us, and it was just my parents and two of my best friends and my sister. So it was a very small thing. We were camping on a mountain, so we got married on the side of the mountain, and it was nice. With the plan being, when we did this is not part of the immigration thing, but when we made these plans, it was like, okay, we'll do this, and then at
we'll have a real wedding.
The year, we'll have the real wedding with like his family and everybody, and that will be like the white dress sort of wedding.
Which was planned for us to get married at the end of the year. However, this never came to fruition, and it still hasn't, and we're 5 years deep into this. One day, our fifth year wedding anniversary is like in 6, 7, 8. It's maybe closer to a year away. It's about 9 months away, right? Our fifth wedding anniversary. Anyway, on our 5th wedding anniversary, we're hoping to have an actual ceremony or a party or some sort where we can get dressed up. And now we've got a kid. He can be my best man and stuff like that. That'll be cool. So we get married. I'm sure we'll go into this story in more detail at a later date. But we get married. We apply for it. Okay? I've got about 2 weeks until my tourist visa runs out. And if I don't receive this certain letter saying, we've got your information, you're in the system, then I'm illegally staying in the country. 2 weeks comes. I wake up the morning of my flight, still not hearing anything. Click on my emails or look in the mail, nothing. So I'm like, oh, shh.
So then had the dilemma, does he stay in the country illegally because he's now gone over his visa and he hasn't got this paper saying like, we got your paperwork and you'll be getting an appointment soon. And so basically we went back and forth, stressed out. And then the guy was like, just stay, don't leave. If you leave, you're going to have trouble getting back in. You've already applied for it. It will be coming soon. So
then for like a month, 6 weeks or whatever, I was illegal in America.
Stayed illegally over his visa.
Should we be saying this on the internet? Can I go to jail now?
No.
No, all right.
So he stayed. The paperwork came in. We got an appointment, which brings us to the next part in the process.
So to go through the process, we have to meet certain criterias, we have to provide certain evidence, and the main part, we have to pass an interview, basically an interrogation. They interrogated us to make sure it was legitimate. Because I imagine a lot of people do this to get green cards for people they don't actually want to be with. So anyway, we then had to start collecting evidence. And the evidence was it's like quite a lot of things we have to get. And here's a tip that saved us, I believe. Not saved us, but definitely helped. I don't know if it's still... Instagram now has dates on it. But Instagram used to have weeks, like 25-week-old photo, 30-week-old photo. Now, I went and found the first photo that we posted to Instagram because the phone didn't timestamp it. And then I found it, and it was like... say it was 30 weeks ago, however long it was. Yeah. And we printed this out with the proof that 30 weeks ago we knew each other. He's a photo of us in England. He's a photo of us in Amsterdam.
So I think that was actually part of the paperwork that we had to send in.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It was part of the evidence that we had to provide.
So before we got the interview, like when we were applying for this thing, we had to send in all the evidence, and it gives you a list, like showing that you live together, showing that you have accounts together, showing that you've bought something together, which we didn't have any of that stuff. So we had like cards from people sending us
wedding cards.
Sending us like congratulations on getting married, like letters that we had written to each other, photos from when we lived in England together,
WhatsApp messaging from
our text messages. It was so awkward.
To show we've been texting since September, and we had to disclose this, and I'm like,
so awkward.
This is weird.
Yeah.
So what about if I said something fruity like, I want to suck your toes?
Anyways, so we had to send all that in.
I did.
Then we got a letter saying like, all right, here is your temporary something on the thing that on the issuance that you passed this interview. So we go to the interview, which we were stressing out about, which I don't know why we were stressing out about it, because we were stressing out because maybe they were like, actually, we don't believe you guys that you're in a relationship, and no, you have to go back home.
Here's the thing. If you're in a fake relationship and you're trying to get a green card for not legitimate purposes, be scared. Be very, very, very scared. They're going to get you. They're going to get you. They are. They're going to hunt you down, put you in jail for some sort of fraud or some bullshit like that. But if you're in a real relationship and it's legitimate, don't worry about it. It's a conversation
so we were,
with an old dude.
stressing for no reason because we went in. The guy asked, like, we were in a legitimate relationship, so we did know things about each other. I had met his family. We went to like vacation together.
We went to Greece together, yeah.
So I knew all this stuff. So we went in and he asked us some questions, like detailed stuff, like, oh, what's her sister's name? Do you know his parents' name? How long have you guys been together? How did you guys meet? That sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And then the rest of it was kind of just like logistical stuff. Then he would like randomly ask again, like, what was her sister's name? How did you guys meet?
He asked me 4 times during the same interview what her sister's name was. Like, I'm going to forget it in 2 minutes anyway, even if I was lying. But I just mean, like, they're going to catch you. They're going to get you. And I think he took it easy on us because we were like, oh, we're in love. Yeah, wait, this is real. Like, if we were like, oh, this
awkward.
This is my wife. She's called what's your name again? Yeah. Then they would have got us.
So he was like, all right, guys, I could tell that you guys were actually a couple from like the second that I saw you guys walking in. So
which must be a pretty crazy job to have, right?
Then, then you'll be good to go. So he signed our little things and then was basically just like, wait in the mail and then you'll get a
green card.
In a few months you'll get a green card or whatever. So he had a little paper saying he was okay to stay.
And to work.
A few months late. Oh, yeah, and to work. That was the other thing.
That was a big deal.
Which I think he had to apply for that separately, but it was pretty easy to get. So as soon as he applied for his, like, as soon as they gave him the okay to live here, he sent in this other application and they gave him a working card.
And thankfully I'm not the type of person to mess around. I had a job to go to the minute I had it. They were waiting for me to get this card.
Yeah.
I was painting people's bloody houses during the day and they were throwing some coin at me, so I had some money to play with. I think he just hurt his knee.
Yeah. So to wrap this up, he got the what do you call it? You got the like short term. That's what you get initially. You get a conditional one. So it's a 2-year one. And even the guy in the interview said, okay, so the next thing you'll get is a 2-year conditional permanent resident card.
Which permanent resident card is your green card.
Yeah. And it'll be for 2 years. And then at that 2 years, you're going to have to come back in just to check to make sure that you guys are still together and that this is in fact real, blah, blah, blah. So you hurt yourself?
And another condition on it is you can't leave the country. You can't leave the country on a conditional green card. So I had to stay in America for 2 years, whether I wanted to or not. Couldn't go to Mexico, Canada, home, anything like that. Got to stay in America just to prove that it's real. And if you need to deal with him, I can talk about the rest of it if you want. It's up to you. But anyway, so I get this green card. Life's good. Got a job and work, and I've got a social security number now because here's some conditions. You can't get a social security number without a green card, and you cannot get a driver's license without a green card. A green card proves that you're allowed to be in the country, therefore they can issue you social security and they can issue you a driver's license.
Yeah, so he couldn't drive and he couldn't work, which was like 2 of the hardest things for like 6 months that he was initially here with no way to get around.
And no way to make money.
No way to make money.
And it was driving me crazy.
For that. It is tough. It wasn't just tough logistically, like it was tough mentally for him, which made it tough mentally for us. So we really struggled.
If you're a lazy person and you don't give a shit, like it's gonna be real easy. But if you're
if you have the money or if you don't care about the rules, if you're just gonna drive the car anyway, you know.
Yeah.
But like we followed the rules.
I was tempted.
And it was very hard. It was like a strain on our relationship for a while. So as soon as he could work and he could drive himself around, it was like he was like a new man.
She's politely saying that I was an ass.
It was tough. It was super tough.
But anyway, so I get the green card. It's the 2 years fly by. We've moved to Oregon and Seattle by that point, and then we had a baby, and I have to go to get another green card because my 2-year one runs out, and you've got to renew it.
Well, you had to do like a check, right? You had to go to a meeting.
Yes, I had to get my next one. Right now, my permanent resident card is for 10 years, so I got it 2 years ago, nearly now. So I've got 8 years left on it. But here is the kicker, and maybe this is funny or not to some people. Our son was born October 8th, and he was due September 24th, but he was born October 8th, and he was born at like what, 6 in the morning, 3 in the morning, 6 in the morning. All right. I had my immigration appointment October 8th, 10 a.m. An hour and a half away from where he was born. No ifs or buts. Cannot be excused. My first child is born, and I I can't miss this. It's impossible. If I miss it, I don't get my green card. It's that simple. I have to go home. And my son was just born.
So, but the thing is, we knew when the appointment was, like, for like a month, like months before.
But we thought we'd have
and
a
so
kid
we're
by
like,
then.
oh yeah, no problem, easy peasy. He'll be born by then, and you'll go. And then like, dun, 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 2 weeks late, and
Of
we're
course.
like, the appointment is on Thursday. He has to be born before then, and it's like Wednesday night, and he still hasn't been born.
And I don't remember much from that interview. It was pretty easy. It was just that was more formal than the original interview. When both of us had to be there, that was me to make sure that I was still married. And I remember going in exhausted because obviously I hadn't slept. Overjoyed. I just had a baby, and then kind of like worried or scared or upset that I had to leave them to come to this immigration. I get there, so I must have been a mess emotionally in this interview. And I just remember the woman going to us. She's like, "Is there something wrong? You seem a little bit off." And obviously that's a trigger for them to think like that I might be faking to get my card or something. And I just turned around and said, "My son was born 3 hours ago. My first son. My wife and son are left at the hospital, and I had to come here." And she was like, "Oh, okay. Here's your stamp. You're done. Get out of here." And she stamped my thing, sent it off in the mail, give me another temporary one, and then 2 months later, I got my 10-year green card. And she was like, immediately, she was like, "Oh, right," realizing how big of a situation this was that I'm missing out on.
Yeah,
Boom, out the
and
door.
we tried to even move it
wouldn't let
before
us.
then,
No,
and
they
they were
wouldn't let
like,
us.
"You can't. This if you miss this thing, it was gonna be like a shit show to try and."
Well,
like,
they just sent me home.
yeah. So he had to go to this thing. It was crazy.
Basically,
That's like the first time I think I've ever like heard exactly what happened at the appointment.
well, because you were out of it, and
Yeah.
like I didn't want to put any extra stress. But it was an hour and a half drive. I had to sit in the waiting room, and the whole time thinking, "Just call my number, call my number, call my
Yeah,
number."
yeah.
I get in, I'm a mess emotionally. Like I've been crying 3 hours before, and I've got a puffy face. I'm like erratic.
He hadn't slept.
I hadn't
in,
slept in like 2 days,
days.
and I'm like sat there like, what's the question? Wait, I'll give you the answer. Like a crackhead or something like that. And she's like, "Is there something up with you? You seem a little bit off." And I'm like,
That's what she said.
yeah. Well, of course, I'm happy, sad, crazy, like all in one go. So I can't. This woman interviewing me must have thought I was on drugs or something like that, or I'm lucky I got a green card, I guess. And she's like, "Is something wrong with you?" "Yeah, I had a child 3 hours ago, and I'm here." Like my wife is still getting back together. She don't even know where the hell she is right
Yeah.
now. My son is a worm. I need to be there. And then
Biggest word I've
yeah.
ever seen.
and an hour, and then another hour and a half back after. Thankfully, once I said I just had a child that day, they stamped my
Like
thing.
literally 2 hours
Yeah,
ago.
they immediately stamped it. Obviously, it's legitimate. Boom, get out. And then a couple of months later, I was done. But I guess
It's crazy.
that might not help. That's our experience of it. So I guess to summarize, get help. Go see a lawyer. Don't
Be
try and do this.
prepared.
Yeah, don't do this on your own. All right. Go get a lawyer because they'll give you everything you need to do.
That's the other thing, the fees. So we had to pay. It was like the set of fees for the paperwork itself. The initial paperwork when he was just on his tourist visa when we were getting married, that was $1,000 for the paperwork, and then our lawyer charged us $1,000 for them to basically do the paperwork. But the reason that we used a lawyer and didn't do it ourselves is because the lawyer basically told us that like when the company or whatever, like the
Immigration
what's it called?
services.
Immigration people get the paperwork and they see that it's prepared by a lawyer, they kind of just like pass it through because they know it's like done properly. Whereas if it's just like individuals sending it in, it might take longer because
They'll
they're gonna
scrutinize
like
it, yeah.
they're gonna scrutinize through the stuff. So that's maybe one of the benefits.
Plus-
if you don't have the money, like just do it yourself, obviously. But like the lawyer, and maybe the lawyer was just telling us so that he would use him. But he
plus,
did
if you miss anything,
Yeah.
they send it back. And if you're in that window like we were, we couldn't afford to get anything wrong. It was
Yeah.
time sensitive.
Yeah.
And the lawyers made sure that we had everything.
Yeah.
And they also like if you've got to go find all these form numbers like FS1976 and D2359, like who knows this stuff?
Yeah.
Like not me, but immigration lawyers do. So go get that. So go get help with immigration lawyers. Get something to do while you're waiting for your green card. you know?
Yeah.
Pass the bloody test. Like, don't be in a fake marriage. That's probably the main. Like, that's a main. Don't be in a fake marriage. Do it for real. Once you've got it, make sure you abide by the rules because it is conditional. They'll take it off you if they don't believe it's real.
If you guys are getting divorced and a year later, you're going to be in trouble.
Yeah.
Which they do have things that you could like still stay in the country even if you have gotten divorced in the thing, but you have to apply for more paperwork anyways.
Well, and like stuff that we didn't fail to mention, but the non top, like every time you move house, you've got to tell them where you're living as well. So we
Yeah.
moved from Arizona to Oregon to Seattle within the 2-year span. We had to let them know every time. Otherwise, that's a reason for them to void my conditional green
yeah,
card.
so you have to tell them when you change your address.
So they can track you. All right. And then finally, once you get the green card, don't take it as granted. It is, it's something to be respected. It's something to really work to keep. Like, it will be difficult for them now to take it off me, now that I have a family here. But I also know in 8 years' time, I've got to go reapply for another one. And if I give them any just means not to give me it again, I can't stay, you know? So respect the law. Don't get locked up. Don't get arrested. Don't go to jail.
Don't be a bad person. Yeah.
Yeah, they're easy.
If they're letting you live in this country, like, be productive.
Yeah. Get a goddamn job. Pay some taxes. Marry someone you actually want to be with and stay
Don't
with.
Go commit crimes.
Yeah, and don't kill nobody, because you ain't staying in the country after that. You're going to get deported. All right. That was that.
That's that. Sorry we went all, like, random on all different kind of topics, but that's our life. That's what we've been through in the last 4 years.
That's nearly 5 years worth of immigration life in 25 minutes. So you probably just didn't get it all, but hopefully it helps. If you've got questions or it is something that you want to do and you actually want to reach out, our Twitter's at the Bennetts Life. I usually run that, so I'll quite happily message you back if you've got real questions that we haven't covered here. I don't mind doing that. Yeah, just the Bennetts Life, everything the Bennetts Life. That's where you'll find us. No,
wait,
we don't have that.
@gmail.com. That's what I was saying. If you want to email us. Anyways.
But thank you for listening. Our little podcast here is brought to you by Love James Marie. That's our little online store. Go check that bad boy out. It is www.lovejamesmarie.com. We have T-shirts.
Shop.
Yeah, we have T-shirts, we have clothes, we have apparel, mugs, glasses, sunglasses, really cool nerd glasses, and we also do photography services here in our studio, and anything else. There's a blog there that we actually get to write stuff down rather than listen to our stupid accents rambling on for 25 minutes. You might be able to read.
Accent.
You might have an accent, English people.
All right, thanks for listening, and we will see you next time on the Bennetts Life podcast. Ciao.